The Primarchs are very powerful warriors of the Imperium and of Chaos. All of the Loyalist Primarchs went missing after the Great Crusade. The traitor Primarchs went and became demon princes in the Eye of Terror. They fled to the Eye of Terror as well at the end of the Great Scouring. All of the traitor Primarchs are in the galaxy fighting, but the Loyalist Primarchs are a bit difficult. Some are missing and two are active in the galaxy. Let's start with the demon Primarchs in Legion order. The first is Fulgrim and his home planet of Chemos. He helped his people get back up and running. This would lead to him leading the people of Chemos. Fulgrim is a demon prince of Slaanesh, and he is active in the galaxy. He became a demon prince of Slaanesh in the Horus Heresy when he tried to kill Perturabo in the Eye of Terror, but he did not fall to Slaanesh then. It began before that event happened. It started when he picked up the Lyra Blade that had a demon inside of the sword, and Fulgrim started listening to the demon. He did not know it was a demon at first. Slaanesh got into the Legion because Fulgrim let Fabius do surgeries on his Space Marines of his Legion to make them better. He killed Faris Manus at the Dropsite Massacre and led the demons that let the demon that is in the Lyra Blade take over him. In Siege of Terror, Fulgrim, in his demon form, went after civilians and ignored Perturabo in the Siege of Terror. And it's one of the reasons why Perturabo left the Siege of Terror early. Fulgrim tried to kill Brute Guilliman and mortally wounded Guilliman instead of killing him. Like all the other traitor Primarchs, Fulgrim was pushed back into the Eye of Terror, and for a long time, Fulgrim was on a pleasure planet in the Eye that was gifted by Slaanesh. He was there at the 13th Black Crusade. It was said that he was going around eating planets. He became more active in M42, and with Guilliman back, Fulgrim will try to finish off Guilliman this time for good. The next Primarch is Perturabo. He became a demon prince of Chaos Undivided. Perturabo landed on Olympia, and he would supplicate the people of Olympia for his father. Perturabo is very cold to his legion, and when he first met his legion, Perturabo decimated it because they failed to successfully complete a mission under a day. Perturabo do not like how the Emperor put him in the most difficult war zones. He felt the Emperor used him as a tool and joined up with the Traitors. He was there for the Dropsite Massacre. Like I said before, Fulgrim tried to kill him to become a demon prince of Slaanesh. Perturabo pushed into the Sol System and broke through Rogal Dawn's defences. Perturabo had a rival with Rogal Dawn, with Perturabo getting through the defences of the Sol System. That means Rogal Dawn was putting up a defence and proved for once that Dawn was weaker than Perturabo in his mind. At the Siege of Terror, Perturabo was leading the traitor forces on Terror. Over the siege, he was getting annoyed with the other Primarchs, not listening to him, and Horus putting Mortarion to lead the traitorous force over him. So he pulled his forces out of the siege and left Terror early. Perturabo became a demon prince at some point in the Great Scouring. He had the Imperial Fists come to him and prove that the Imperial Fists and Rogal Dawn are better than him and his legion. But in the end, he tricked the Imperial Fists Space Marines into dying for him to become a demon prince of Undivided. Perturabo is active in M41. He may be there for the Battle of Cadia and the 13th Black Crusade. In M42, Perturabo is trying to claim the Cadian Gate. The next is Comrade Kurz. He is dead at the hand of an assassin sent by the Emperor to kill him, so he won't be coming back in the modern 40k. He knew this event was going to happen for a very long time because Kurz had the ability to see into the future. Kurz is mad, and he used very bad ideas of how to stop crimes on his home planet. Of Nostromo, he would kill anyone who committed a crime. So if you stole an apple, he would kill you for the same crime, as well as murdering or anything worse. When the Emperor reunited with Kurz, Kurz tried to claw his eyes out, when he saw the Emperor, and the Emperor touched him, and that calmed him down, stopped his madness for a short time. Kurz went to prove the other Primarchs would do the same as him, as he did, if they in the same situation as he was in. And before the Horus Heresy, Kurz went back to Nostromo because they were sending criminals to be made into Space Marines for the Night Lords, and he was not happy with this, and he blew up Nostromo. And the Emperor tried to bring him back to be punished, but before he would be able to be captured by his brothers, the Horus began to, and he joined up with the Traitors. He was there at the drop site massacre, and he captured Vulcan. Kurz would try to break Vulcan and try to make him like him. This is because Vulcan is very kind and nice as a Primarch. Kurz would be brought to Imperial Secundus with the Lion. When that Kurz went on to kill a lot of civilians on crack, the Lion tried to kill Kurz, but in the end Kurz was captured and told the Lion, Guilliman and Sanguinius, the Emperor is alive because he had the same vision of his death and it didn't change. So he was not there at Siege of Terror, and his vision of the Emperor assassin came true, and he let himself get killed. The next is Angron. He is a demon prince of Khorne and his homeworld of New Syria, and Angron did not become the leader of his world. When he would try to overthrow the leaders of this world, but he was saved by the Emperor. He was enslaved by the leaders and made to be a gladiatorial warrior, and he was very good at it. He was forced to have the butcher's nails planted into him, a device that made him just feel angry and nothing more by the leader because he refused to kill his father. Angron was very angry at the Emperor because he was meant to get killed alongside his family. And he was also very angry just in general, and he would kill members of the World Eaters that came up to him and tried to talk to him. He eventually, calmed him down and actually able to calm him down and actually have a conversation with him. The Legion adopted the Butcher's Nails as a way of showing how they want to be like Angron. Angron joined the Traitors. Angron hated the Emperor for taking him away from the family that he wanted to die with. Angron would be there for the Battle of Isfahan III, where the Loyalists of the Traitor legions were killed. They virus bombed Isfahan III, but in the end, someone still alive. Horus wanted to virus bomb it again, but Angron, without the permission of Horus, went down and started fighting. He was also there at the drop site massacre. In the Horus Heresy, he would work with Lorgar and his word bearers in the battling against the Ultramarines in Ultramar. Angron is getting killed by the Butcher's Nails. They're not meant for Primarchs at all. So Lorgar told Angron to go back to his home planet, where he would go home, and the people of there believed that he left it because the leader of the planet said that he fled from it. He was angry at this, so he was butchering everybody around him. The Ultramarines came to fight alongside him. Lorgar made Angron into a demon prince of Khorne. Now Angron is an uncontrollable monster, and the Traitors put him in the labyrinth that Conrad's Curse put Vulcan in, and at the Siege of Terror dropped him onto Terror just before the siege began. He went on to fight Sanguinius in front of the Eternity Gate, and Sanguinius would be impaled by Angron's black sword, but Sanguinius would rip out Angron's butcher's nails. Like all of the other traitor Primarchs, he went back into the Eye of Terror. Angron is very active in 41st Millennia. He was there at the fighting on Armageddon, that would be known as the First War for Armageddon. and he would come back to Armageddon after the Great Rift formed. Angron would fight an Inquisitor that found a mini Astronomicon. Angron destroyed the mini Astronomicon that made a murder curse that affected a fleet, a massive fleet, and he would fight the Lion in the Arcs of Omen campaign that Abaddon launched. The next Primarch is Mortarion. He is a demon prince of Nurgle, and his homeworld is called Barbarous. Mortarion did not become a leader of his world, but a leader of the people. He tried to kill his father, who is a weird alien necromancer thing. But before he could kill his father, he would pass out, and the Emperor would kill him for Mortarion, because they had an agreement. Because when the Emperor came to Barbarous to get Mortarion, Mortarion said he wanted to kill his father. The Emperor said, "I will allow you to kill your father, but if you fail, I will do it for you." Um, this would actually make Mortarion angry at the Emperor for doing this, for killing him, because in his mind, Mortarion should have killed his father. Uh, Mortarion did not like Psykers. When the Emperor had to make a decision on Psykers, he was one of the strongest against Psykers, with Leman Russ also being against it. Mortarion joined the Traitors, and Mortarion would be there at the Dropsite Massacre. After that, after the Dropsite Massacre, he would try to get Jadkai Khan to join the Traitors, but in the end, Jadkai did not join up with the Traitors. Mortarion went after and tried to kill Jadkai Khan. He failed in his mission. Horus told Mortarion to get back to Terra to begin the siege, and the Death Guard got lost in the warp and infected by a Nurgle's disease. The Legion would fall to Nurgle, and Mortarion would become a demon prince. At the Siege of Terra, Mortarion would fight Jadkai Khan, and he tried to make Garros into an undead puppet. Garros is a member of the Death Guard, and Garrett is loyal to the Emperor, and he went to Terra to tell the Emperor what happened at Isvan. At some point in the siege, Mortarion was put in control of the traitor forces. That is one of the reasons why Perturabo left the siege early. He went into the Eye of Terror. Mortarion is active in the fighting in the modern 40k. He fought against Grey Knights, and he started the Plague Wars that would lead to Guilliman getting infected and the power of the Emperor being put in him, and Guilliman burning down the Garden of Nurgle. But this would actually not make Mortarion very happy, because Nurgle's actually angry at him for disobeying him, because he was meant to be pulled back and deal with the war in the War of the Rifts. Next is Magnus. He is a demon prince of Zinch, and his homeworld is called Prospero. Magnus became the leader of his people, and he is known the Emperor was coming before he came to him. They used to just talk about stuff because he was a very powerful psyker, and he liked to gather up knowledge about things. So when he was during the Great Crusade, he would go out his way to protect things that have knowledge. When the Emperor was trying to make a decision on psychers, he was one of the strongest for it. But in the end, the Emperor made the decision of saying no to psychers, and this would make Mortarion and his legion less useful in the grand scheme of things, for there are a lot of psychers in that legion. Also, their legion has something called the Flesh Change, where they kind of turn into Chaos Spawn. Before Horus fell to the Chaos Gods, Mortarion tried to stop him. This was kind of in the warp space where he got stabbed, and he was kind of seeing visions, and he was there trying to stop him and basically stop the Horus Heresy from happening, but he couldn't. So he wanted to tell the Emperor. Instead of sending a message to him that would take maybe months or weeks or months to get there, he decided to do it through the warp. So he did it and saw some form of protection around Terra. He interacted with Zinch before, but he thought it was like a minor thing, something that he could control. The same entity that he was talking to, Zinch, told Magnus that he could break through it, so he did. He broke through the shield. This would allow demons to pour into Terra, and the Emperor was not very happy with this, so he wanted to bring Magnus back to tell him why he did it. But before he could do that, before he could really get brought back, he was sent by Russ. Russ was intercepted by Horus, who was fallen now, to basically change what happened. He said that the Emperor wanted Magnus to be killed. So Russ, who didn't need much pushing, went to Prospero and started bombarding it from orbit. Magnus did not fight back at first, seeing it as being the best for him and his legion. But he did start to fight back in the end, when it was too late, because he understood that it was not fair, and he kind of went. When it's too late, he started to fight back. But eventually, he was pulled into the warp by Zinch and surviving members of his legion. He did not do a lot in Siege of Terror, and he became a Demon Prince at some point as well. Magnus the Red is active in the 41st millennia. He exiled Ahriman for trying to help his legion with the flesh change. He fought the Space Wolves on their home planets, I believe, twice, and Gilliman as well. When he was getting back to Terra, he fought Magnus on the moon. Magnus wanted to go to Terra, and so he was kind of tricked. The next is Horus. He is dead, and he died at the end of Siege of Terra by the hand of the Emperor. His homeworld is Casonia. He became the leader of his people. Horus was the first to be found by the Emperor, and the Emperor liked him the most out of all the other Primarchs. When the Emperor went back to Terra to work on the Webway project, he gave Horus the title War Master. Some of the other Primarchs didn't agree with it. Lion thought it should be him, but for the most part, everybody agreed with it. And shortly after that event, Horus fell to the Chaos Gods and started the civil war that is known as the Horus Heresy. He would get Fulgrim, Perturabo, Comaricus, Angron, and Mortarion Magnus. Lorgar was already a traitor, worshipped the Chaos Gods, and started it, but he was there. And Altharius and Omegon to join him in his war against the Emperor. Before he started, he sent the Blood Angels far away and Ultramarines to fight Lorgar and his legion to fight the Ultramarines, to distract them. Horus knew at some point some of the loyal Primarchs will not ever join him, like Sanguinius, so that's why he sent them away. And he went to the Mechanicus, and half of them, something like that, joined up with him, and the Mechanicus had their own civil war. He had loyal members of the Traitor Legions killed at Isthvan 3. After that, trapped the 3 legions on Isthvan 3, namely the Salamanders, the Raven Guard, and the Iron Hands, and their Primarchs. Eventually, Horus and his traitors started the Siege of Terra. At the Siege of Terra, when Horus knew he could not win it, because the Ultramarines are coming to Terra. Also, the Lion was weakening their forces up as well. So Horus baited the Emperor upon his flagship, the Ventral Spirit. Sanguinius would come alongside him, and Sanguinius was the first to find Horus before the others, and he tried to fight Horus, but Sanguinius was slain by Horus, and it wasn't all for nothing, for Sanguinius made a chip in Horus's armor that the Emperor would use to kill him later on. The Emperor fought Horus now. The Emperor was mortally wounded by Horus, but would kill Horus permanently. Originally, it was said that his soul was obliterated. I think in some of the newer lore, it wasn't obliterated. It was more he just died. The next Primarch is Lorgar. He is a demon prince of Undivided, and his homeworld of Quartus he became the leader of his people. And Lorgar believed that the Emperor was a god, and spread the beliefs into the new worlds that he would bring into the Imperium. This would make Lorgar and the Word Bearers very slow and have very low numbers of planets that were brought into the Imperium. The Emperor did not like how slow Lorgar was, and the fact that he believed in the Emperor and spreading it. So the Emperor wanted to make a point. So he brought Lorgar and his legion and made them kneel in front of the Ultramarines and the Emperor and blew up their biggest planet, their crowning jewel, to make sure that they understood that he was not very happy. So Lorgar looked for something new, a new god. He's always going to believe because that's the culture of his home planet. So he found the Chaos Gods, and Lorgar is the first traitor Primarch. And he started making plans for the other legions to fall to the Chaos Gods. He inserted lodges into the other legions, and so he wanted to push Horus into falling. So he made plans, and in the end, he started the Horus Heresy. Lorgar was there at the Dropsite Massacre. After that, he was fighting with Angron in Ultramar. Lorgar did not fight at the Siege of Terra. For the fact he didn't even go to the Siege of Terra. He thought it was a waste of time. He just fled somewhere else. Lorgar went into the Eye of Terror before the other traitors. Korax would find Lorgar in the warp. Lorgar saw Korax in this new demon Primarch form, but he's not a demon. It's a demon. It's like a demon raven thing. Korax is not a demon, but Lorgar thought he was. And he was saying how he basically fell to the Chaos Gods, even though he didn't. And Korax said, "This is our true form." The Emperor was actually wanting us to be like this kind of thing. And Korax wanted to kill the traitor legions, but he wanted to kill Lorgar first. So Lorgar had to run and hide in his tower and start meditating. And when he was meditating and praying to the Chaos Gods, he became a demon prince. So he was one of the few that was after everything, really, because he was just not really doing anything. He's just praying. He's becoming more active in M41 after the Great Rift formed, but he's not as active as the monogods, Primarchs, really. The last of the traitor Primarchs is Alpharius and Omegon. We do not know for sure what their home planet is. There are two Primarchs, Alpharius, who may be home planet is Terra, and Omegon, whose home world is unknown. They joined the traitors because they saw two possible outcomes. They had these outcomes by basically Eldari, who had the power of seeing into the future. One of the possible futures was if they joined up with Horus, and Horus won. This would lead to the death of humanity, and the Chaos Gods would die as well. Basically, humanity would sacrifice themselves to kill the Chaos Gods. The second outcome is if the Emperor won, this would lead to the Emperor being on the Golden Throne and the Chaos Gods growing in strength. Alpharius and Omegon are not Chaos worshipping like the other ones, really. They didn't really worship the Chaos Gods. They don't really have any sway by them. I believe one of them being loyal to the Emperor and the others being a traitor, and that the one that got killed by Royal Dawn was loyal to the Emperor. Before the fight that would be on Islam 5, that would put the White Scars to join Horus. That was there for the SM5, and they pushed the White Scars into not joining Horus. They did not fight in the Siege of Terror, and they did not go into the Eye of Terror. We're going to get onto the Loyalist Primarchs. The first loyal Primarch is the Lion. His homeworld of Caliban, he became the leader of his home planet, and his legion was the biggest in the Great Crusade until a big battle where he went down to the fourth. The Lion did not like that Horus was made War Master. The Lion fought with his brother Leman Russ, and to this very day, the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels fight at the same battle. If they fight at the same battle, they would afterwards. The leaders would fight just like their Primarch did. In the Horus Heresy, the Lion went after Kurz, and when Guilliman made the Imperium Secundus, he was one of the 3 Loyalist Primarchs that was there, and he brought Kurz to Imperium Secundus on one of his ships. Kurz was baited into a trap that the Lion made for him, and the Lion went on to try to kill Kurz, but Kurz was captured, and the Lion was banished for using a nuke to get Kurz. That was not very good because Guilliman said, "Don't do that." The Lion did not fight in the siege. He went to the Traitors' homeworlds and blew them up to weaken the Traitors' forces. He went back to Caliban and found some of the Dark Angels are traitorous, and the Traitors fired at the Lion. In the end, Caliban was destroyed. The Dark Angels that are on Caliban got pulled into the warp, and they would become known as the Fallen. The Lion would be spirited away by the Watchers in the Dark in the newly made rock. The Lion came back in M42 as the second Loyalist Primarch, and we do not actually know how long he's been actively going around finding the Fallen and redeeming them. But we know it's at least in M42. He would fight Angron, and he would fight it with the Emperor's shield that the Emperor gave to him, and he would decapitate Angron. And also he has a new ability. He can kind of walk into a forest area called forest walking and go to a new place. It's like warp travel, but not. The next is Jadakai Khan, and his homeworld is Shadoras. He came to lead of the people of the world, and Jadakai Khan, as being very independent and doing what he would like to, and he was trying to make his ships go faster. In the Horus Heresy, Jadakai Khan did not pick a side at first because he wanted to know the truth of what's going on. And the Alpha Legion and Mortarion helped push him into picking a side. He picked to be loyal to the Emperor. Jadakai fought in the Siege of Terror and would fight Mortarion, and he told Mortarion that he was weak for giving into the Chaos Gods, the temptation of the Chaos Gods. And that would make Mortarion angry at Jadakai. That made it very easy to fight his fallen brother. After the siege, he went hunting for the traitors. In the Great Scouring, he would go back to his home world to find it being raided by the Dark Eldar. He runs after them into the warp, and he is lost into the webway. He didn't run into the warp; he ran into the webway. Next is Leman Russ, and his homeworld is Fenris, and he came to lead his people of his world. Russ became the Emperor's executioner, and he did not like Magnus. When the Emperor had to make a decision on Psychers, he was strongly against Psychers, but he kept Psychers in his legion, because he says that they do not use anything from the warp, they use the spirit of Fenris itself. Same as the warp, really. And so, same with Jadakai. But Jadakai wasn't against psychers. Jalakai said that the Stormseers used to manipulate the weather, so totally different than Warpcraft. Russ fought the line, as I said, to this very day. The Space Wolves and the Dark Angels, if they fight at the same battle, after the battle is over, the leaders will fight just like the Primarchs did. Russ was sent to get Magnus and got to bring him back to the Emperor, but Horus told him that the Emperor wants Russ to kill Magnus, so Russ went to Prosper and destroyed the world and the Legion as well. Russ, in the Horus Heresy, he was sent to kill Horus and he failed to do so. He did not fight in the Siege of Terra. He did not want to split up his legion in the end. When Guilliman told him, when he opposed the Codex Astartes and splitting them up into chapters, he was strongly against it, and he refused. In the end, he kind of didn't have to. Guilliman didn't push it. Russ went into the warp with some of his elite Space Wolf bodyguards to find the Tree of Life, to bring the Emperor back to life. It is said that Russ will come back one day. In the end times, I believe, Primarch is Rogel Dawn, and his homeworld of Ewit. He came to lead of his people of Ewit. He got into space before the Emperor came to his world, and the Emperor helped turn on a massive ship called the Phalanx. He was very good at defensive warfare. When the Emperor went back to Terra to work on the Webway project, he pulled back Dawn to Terra to make the defenses. In the Horus Heresy, he did not do a lot, but he bettered the defenses on Terra and the Sol systems. After finding out that Horus was a traitor, and he made the defenses of the Sol systems as well. He fought Alpharius on Pluto and killed Alpharius, allegedly. He was then, for the Siege of Terra, he went with the Emperor to fight Horus at the end of the siege. He did not get to Horus before the Emperor or Sanguinius. Dawn did not want to split up the Legion, but in the end he did. He went onto his ship and thought about it, and he thought it was better to split up his legion than cause another civil war. He went missing at some point after that. The only part of Dawn that the Imperial Fist have is his arm. The next is Sanguinius and his home world of Baal, and he became the leader of his home world. He has wings on his back. It is unknown if the Emperor made Sanguinius with wings, or it was warp or radiation from Baal itself. Sanguinius is the most loved Primarch out of all of them. He has turned his legion from violent, bloodthirsty monsters to a noble legion. In the Heresy, he was sent away from Terra, and he was on to fight Khorne demons. They tried to tempt him into becoming a champion of Khorne, for Khorne wanted Sanguinius more than Angrond. And they will get rid of the Red first. He was then with Guilliman when he made Imperial Secundus, and he was made as the new Emperor, and when they got Kurz, Simon found out that the Emperor is alive because they both have visions, and he knew how he was going to die. He saw Horus killing him, and Kurz saw the Emperor sending an assassin, so they kind of knew that the Emperor was alive. Sanguinius was there at the Siege of Terra. And defended the Eternity Gate from the Traitors. He went on with the Emperor on Horus' ship, and Sanguinius would be there first and fought against Horus. Sanguinius fight Horus, but Sanguinius knew of his death at the hands of Horus because he had visions of it. When he died, his legion got a psychic backlash that led to the Black Rage. I believe that Sanguinius's warp essence is still around. That's the Sanguinor. I believe that that is Sanguinius's basically psychic residue. The next is Faris Manus and his homeworld of Medusa. He did not want to lead his people of Medusa. Faris had metal hands that came from a Necron or from a Catan that he put under lava. He was friendly with Fulgrim. Both of them made weapons for the other. Fulgrim made a power hammer if for Fulgrim, and Fulgrim made a sword for Faris. In the Horus Heresy, Fulgrim tried to tempt Faris into joining up with Horus, but Faris did not want to join up with Horus. Faris was on Islam 3, and he ran off to fight Fulgrim one-on-one. But Fulgrim could not kill him because he sees him as a friend still. So Fulgrim gave in to the demon that's in his sword, and with this demon in Fulgrim, he killed Ferris, and that's it for Ferris. He's dead. He was the first Primarch to die, and it really did impact his legion, because now in the modern 40k, the Iron Hands believed that everybody's fault was there. So it was the Salamanders and the Raven Guard for not helping. Their Primarch didn't come in and help them, and if they did, they would have helped them. And they kind of have this attitude that it's basically every vote's fault but Faris Manus for running at Fulgrim. Next Primarch is Rabute Gilliman and his homeworld of Macragge, and he became the leader of his homeworld, and he made a small empire that is called Ultramar. Gilliman is has the biggest legion in the Great Crusade. He was one of the Primarchs that, other than that would thought would become War Master. Before the heresy began, Horus sent the word bearers to fight Gilliman and his legion. When Gilliman met up with the three other brothers, he made Emperor Secundus. He believed the Emperor was dead. He did not fight in the Siege of Terror, but he was on his way. He wanted to split up the legions and made them into chapters, and for them to follow the book that he wrote called the Codex Astartes. So most of them accepted it, apart from the Salamanders, the Space Wolves. They didn't need to follow the Codex or split up the Legion. After that, Fulgrim went to fight Gilliman, and Fulgrim would mortally wound Gilliman, and Gilliman was took back to Macragge and put in a stasis field. He came back in M41 as the first Loyalist Primarch. He would go to Terra to speak to the Emperor, and the Emperor to give him his sword. Gilliman told Barosaurus Core before he fought with Fulgrim to improve the Space Marines. And now in M41/M42, Carl have done this by making the Primaris Space Marines. Gilliman started the Indominus Crusade that helped the dark side of the galaxy and give out the Primaris Space Marines to the other chapters. After the Indominus Crusade ended, he went back to Ultramar to fight off the Death God in the Plague Wars. The next is Vulcan and his homeworld of Nocturne. He did not become the leader of his people. He was just a great blacksmith. Vulcan is a very nice Primarch, and he installed in the Legion that they still maintain contact with the birth family. Vulcan was there on Islam 5, and he was captured by Kurz and was tortured by Kurz. Vulcan cannot die, for he's the petrol. So Kurz would kill him over and over again. Eventually, he was escaped, and he was there in the War of the Webway, where the Emperor was fighting demons in the Webway that it was made. Vulcan made his way to Terra. he was there on the Siege of Terror. He would fight against Magnus, who was just torturing him, trying to kill him, but he couldn't. Vulcan would wanted to go with the Emperor to fight Horus, but he was too late. Vulcan did not want to split up his legion at all. In the end, he did not split it up for two reasons, actually. Because he didn't want to, and he was stubborn enough to say no. Also, I think it was because his legion was pretty decimated, like the other two, like the Iron Hands and the Raven Guard, so they really didn't have to split it up. He was there for the War of the Beast, and after that, he went missing. And the Salamanders believe that if they collect all 9 artifacts of Vulcan, he would come back, or pointed to him. They only found 5 out of the 9 of the artifacts in M42. The last of the Loyalist Primarchs is Corax, and his homeworld of Deliverance, and he would lead his people off his homeworld. Deliverance was a prison world, so he kind of overthrew the people that were enslaving, putting them in prison, because it wasn't just a normal prison, it was pretty bad. Corax was there on S5, and like the other 3 legions that were there, he lost a lot of his members of his legion. In the Horus, he tried to get his legion up to scratch, but the Alpha Legion infiltrated the Raven Guard. The Alpha Legion messed up the new recruits, and I believe they made something called raptors, these malformed creatures. Corax was not there for the Siege of Terror. He went into the Eye to find the traitor legions and kill them, namely starting off with Lorgar. Corax looks like a demon raven thing, but he's not a true demon, or got his powers from the Chaos Gods. He tried to kill Lorgar, who is now in a tower. With Lorgar leaving his tower, it is more likely that Corax may come back with him. The last 2 are the missing Primarchs. We don't actually know anything about them, apart from the fact that they went missing during the Great Crusade at some point, because most of the other Primarchs knew of them and were upset when they were taking down the statues of them. For the most part, we don't know much. I believe one was killed in a big battle, and the other was imprisoned in the dark vaults underneath Terra, where the Custodes guards them. Yes, that's it for this video. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and tell me what you want me to talk about next.